Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to tackle a question that can feel especially tough if you're about to step into leadership roles for the first time. And that's how to answer leadership interview questions when you've never officially had the management title before. If you've led projects, mentored others, or taken initiatives, but never formally managed a team, then this video is going to show you how to position yourself as leadership ready, tell credible strategic stories, and avoid some of the common traps that most first-time managers fall into. So let's dive in. So let's have a look at what interviewers are actually looking for. Here's what people miss. When an interviewer asks, tell me a time when you led a team, what's your leadership style, how do you motivate others? They're not always looking for a formal manager. What they're doing is they're looking for someone who can take ownership, influence others, communicate with clarity, handle challenges, and also guide progress. Leadership is less about hierarchy and more about how you show up when things get tough. So don't panic if you haven't had the title before. Focus on your actions and your mindset. Here, we're going to frame your experience strategically. Instead of saying, I've never been a manager yet, so I haven't had the chance to lead a full team or project, you could say something like, in my previous role, I consistently stepped up and demonstrated leadership qualities. Let me show you an example of when I went above and beyond in my previous role. This is where leadership trait mapping comes into play. Before your interview, you're going to want to write down your top leadership traits that the job calls for. Things like communication or strategic thinking, delegation, accountability, etc. Then you're going to want to think, where in my past have I demonstrated each one of these? Those moments are going to become your interview stories without having that management title. Now, let's build on the foundations of an answer using the STAR+HR structure with leadership-focused framing. First, we have headline. Normally, we would write this at the very end once we've written out the whole story. But for the context of this exercise, we're going to keep it in order for the interview answer. So you might say something like this. One time I demonstrated strong leadership was when I led a cross-functional team during an internal resource crisis and helped turn the project around in only 4 weeks, delivering ahead of schedule and ensuring one of our key accounts received the impeccable service that we promised. Let me explain how this happened in a little bit more detail. Next, we have situation. Here, you want to set the scene clearly, including the people, place, and time. You might say something like, this was during Q4 of 2024 at XYZ company, where the project manager suddenly resigned. Now let's discuss the task. Here we can use the tool chunking up to define your strategic importance, not just the task. The task wasn't just to keep things moving. We were only 4 weeks away from delivering a project for a major client, and there were a lot of moving pieces that hadn't yet been assigned. There was a lot of confusion in the teams and morale was low. Failure to deliver could risk losing the account. For action, let's use the root cause analysis or 5 whys tool to focus on leadership behaviors. These would be communication, decision-making, initiative. So not just what you did, but also why. Seeing this, I stepped up, aligned everyone on priorities, delegated tasks based on their responsibilities and previous experience, as well as their technical competence. And I also held end-of-day syncs through Teams to track the progress and identify where resources should be shuffled. This allowed us to dynamically pivot each day and catch up on some of that lost time. Additionally, I acted as the key point of contact to communicate progress to external stakeholders, effectively absorbing a significant portion of the PM's role while I was working closely with the head of product. Now let's look at the result. Here we can use the tool before and after framing to show contrast and transformation. Remember to include data and make sure that evidence is measurable. Before, the team was disoriented, lacked morale, and it was looking as though we were going to have to disappoint our client with requesting a delay on the project. However, by acting quickly, demonstrating a willingness to go above and beyond, and volunteering to absorb some of the outer scope responsibilities, I was able to reignite the passion of the team, even delivering the project 3 days ahead of schedule. Our client was incredibly happy of our product and decided to roll it out nationwide within their organization. This increased our engagement from $200,000 to $2 million. Finally, we have reflection. Here, you can use the tool perspective switching to show insight and self-awareness. Looking back, I realized the team needed more than just direction. They needed reassurance, and by alleviating a lot of pressure from our internal stakeholders, I was able to free them up so that they could focus on moving their individual tasks forward. My entire team was very supportive of my involvement, and by having daily syncs, we were able to work democratically, fostering a fully inclusive and collaborative environment. This answer demonstrates everything the interviewer needs to know about your leadership qualities. Now, let's have a look at some of the common mistakes I see with first-time leaders in interviews. Some of the quick warning signs that I see personally from coaching candidates are things like saying they haven't had the opportunity to lead yet without telling a story, or over-indexing on personal achievements and forgetting about the team, as well as giving vague answers like, I just stepped in and I helped, without actually a full structure. And lastly, not reflecting on the hows and whys behind the leadership choices. Remember, it's not about having led, it's about being ready to lead. Okay, so let's recap. 1, use leadership trait mapping to prepare relevant stories. 2, use STAR+HR to structure your answers. And 3, use tools like chunking up to show strategy, not just tasks, root cause analysis to dig deeper into the meaning behind actions, before and after framing to make impact visible, and finally perspective switching to add insight. If this is your first official step into leadership, don't shy away from that. Every manager started somewhere. Embrace it, prepare for it, and own it. In the next episode, we're going to look at something incredibly important so that you can stay one step ahead of the hiring process. And that's how to use the job description to confidently predict the key questions that may come up in your interview. I can't wait to dive into this one. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Your sub really helps with YouTube expanding the reach of these videos, and also drop a comment below. If you're working on your first leadership move, I'd love to hear and even help shape your story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.